luxury of self-destruction to be self-aware. Why my mind malfunctions into this reverse? Smile, I walk to get a drink from the machine. Why my mind malfunctions? The luxury of self-destruction to be self-aware.
Hi, it's Rachel Vitullo, Global Brand Artist for 11 Australia. Today I am on YouTube Live talking through all things upstyling. We are going to be formulating and cocktailing styling products using 11 Australia. I'm going to be showcasing some really cool sleek styles and some really amazing textured styles. These styles that I'm going to be showing you today are what people are asking for right now. And with the tools with 11 Australia and the amazing styling products that they have, we're going to create some really amazing looks. So we're going to jump straight into it. I'm going to talk my favorite cocktailing of products. The beautiful thing with 11 Australia is that there is something for everything, but you can intermix to create texture, grit, sleek, softness, whatever you need. So I will always use our hero product, Miracle Hair Treatment, for my foundation for any style I create. The Miracle Hair Treatment has 11 benefits your hair will love. One benefit that I love that the Miracle Hair Treatment has is heat protection. So heat protection is so important when you are using hot tools or using a hairdryer. Creates a fantastic barrier on the hair, so you're not directly implementing the heat on the hair, but it also creates that lightweight barrier in a lightweight way. So you don't feel that there's any product in the hair at all. So Miracle Hair Treatment is definitely my go-to first foundation and primer for the hair. One cocktail that I love is I Want Body Volume Foam and Sea Salt Texture Spray. These two together is my go-to. Wherever you want lift and expansion is wherever the I Want Body Volume Foam goes. Wherever you want grip and grit is wherever Sea Salt Spray goes. This camera is mirrored, so sometimes it goes this way, sometimes it goes this way. The Sea Salt Texture Spray is fantastic for grip and grit and texture. When you're creating movement in the hair, whether it's using a hot tool or whether it's using your client's natural texture, grip and grit is so important for the longevity of the movement that you create. Even when you're upstyling hair, styling hair up, whether it's in a ponytail or a top knot or in a really textured bun style, the texture is what's going to give you that longevity and the memory in the hair in order for that style to last as long as your client needs it. So where to put what? As I mentioned before, volume and expansion. This doesn't always have to be in on the root area. So say your client has a generous amount of volume from the root into the midsection, but their mid-lengths and ends are a little bit finer, a little bit more limp. I Want Body Volume Foam is amazing for the mid-lengths and the ends to give expansion for the illusion of thicker, fuller hair. And Sea Salt Texture Spray is for your grip. So if you're working in a situation like that with fullness already here, but fine hair, mid-lengths and ends, apply your Sea Salt Spray just in on that root area. Create the grip and the texture that you need, and then the fullness on the mid-lengths and ends. You can cocktail the two from roots all the way to the tips of the hair. If you want lift and volume and expansion and grip and grit from roots to ends, you can comfortably go in with these two. So I absolutely love the cocktail of these two products. On both looks today, I've actually put the cocktail of the two in. We're going to be working on a mannequin head a little bit later and executing some styles. So they have already been pre-prepped with these two. So they are definitely my go-to products. As mentioned before, styling hair, it's all about your prep work. So sometimes in salons, clients will the salon will ask the client to come in with clean hair. That cuts out a little bit of time in the salon, so you're not prepping from shampooing and blow drying and prepping that way. So if your client, if you're a salon and you ask your client to come in with clean hair, it's important to ask what they use at home. The correct choice of shampoo and conditioner is so important. So I always say keep the end result in mind right in the beginning. So if you're wanting something with lots of volume and lots of lift and lots of air, volume shampoo and conditioner from 11 Shea is your fantastic choice. You also have deep clean shampoo or gentle clean shampoo. So those are your very much lightweight shampoos that are going to help incorporate the air and the lift that you need. If you're creating a slicker style or something that is a little bit more polished, Miracle Hair Treatment Shampoo and Conditioner, Hydrate My Hair Shampoo and Conditioner, or Smooth Me Now Shampoo and Conditioner is fantastic choices for anything a little bit more polished. If you know that your client has quite unruly, frizzy hair or textured hair, going in with something that packs in a little bit more hydration or has a humectant which locks that moisture in, is a fantastic shampoo and conditioner. So it's always really important to ask your clients, what are you using at home, making sure it's the correct thing. If you are in the salon and you shampoo from the beginning, always making sure, once again, that you keep the end result in mind right in the beginning with your shampoo, conditioner, and then prepping with your Miracle Hair treatment. So we're going to cocktail some products today and we're going to create some really cool fun styles. Like I was mentioning before, these are what clients are asking for right now. I'm going to try and incorporate as many different styles as possible so you leave today with all of the confidence on upstyling hair. Now, a lot of people are fearful of hair upping. And I ask the question, where does that fear come from? Like, why are you fearful of it? And it's all that they always say, I just don't know where to start. And that's fine. Majority of the time, when you hair up, there is always a ponytail. So that's a really cool tip for you. Where to start is finding out where the ponytail is. So if your client brings in a photo and they want like a knot or a bun style done in their hair, it's always find where that ponytail is first and then creating your style around that. So as mentioned before, finding the ponytail. There's two really key reference points on where the ponytail should go. So you've got a low ponytail and you have a high ponytail. My best tip, and this, like I learned this a long time ago and is still one of my strongest tips with upstyling. If you're creating a low ponytail and you're just unsure where that low ponytail should sit for it to be flattering, take your tail comb or your wide tooth comb, place it along the jaw. So we're going to align that in with the jaw. And then we're going to rock that tail comb or wide tooth comb back towards the center back. So rocking that back towards the center back is your reference point for the most flattering look on a low ponytail. What this is going to do is draw the attention in on that jawline. So really sort of accentuate in on that jaw, create shape around the neck area, and also help with the curvature from your jaw into your neck. So it is definitely the most flattering position for a low ponytail or a low bun or a low knot. If you're creating an up style, and you're going into like a high ponytail or a top knot or something that sits really high and really full, my best advice for where to align that ponytail, which is your starting reference point, is in on the cheekbone. So you sit in on the cheekbone here, and what you do once again is rock that tail comb back into the center back of the head, and then that's where the ponytail is going to go. There's a little bit of leeway in this position here. So if your client wants to see the ponytail or wants to see a generous amount of the bun or the top knot that you create, you can place that on the top end of the cheekbone and come even higher. So you can see that the reference points, my first point for my low ponytail was here, and then my next reference point is up higher. So there is still a little bit of wriggle room between one place to the other. For my first look today, we are going to do a low sleek style. So I'm creating both a low style and a high style today for you. So we're going to start off with a low sleek style. Like I was mentioning before, this is very much asked for right now. I think like a lot more of the polished looks are coming back. And so it's understanding tension and execution with it. So as I mentioned before, I've prepped my mannequin with the I Want Body Volume Foam and the Sea Salt Spray. What I'm going to do is cocktail my next favorite cocktailing of products. and it is the I Want Body Texture Spray. If you didn't know, the I Want Body Texture Spray is a combination of sea salt spray and the I Want Body Volume Powder. So what this does is it dries instantly in the hair. So this is amazing for, say the client comes in and their hair is clean and there's got no product in it and it's really soft. This is fantastic to spray in and then heat tool over the top. Also fantastic for if you've created motion and curl in your client's hair and you feel like the grip's just still not there yet and you don't have enough texture, you can spray this directly over the hot movement that you've created. So whether it's a curl or a ripple curl, you can spray this over the top and it will not interfere with any movement that you've created because it dries instantly. So it's such an amazing product to use to continue to build and prep. So we're going to spray this all over my mannequin's root area to her mids. You know, sometimes when you are slicking hair back or you're creating a sleek ponytail, and you always see that you get really good tension in through here, but then when it comes to tying, you get a little bit of hair lifting off or you get some lumps and bumps. That is because the hair is too soft. So always keep telling yourself. And like the thing that's amazing with 11 Australia is that it's very hard to overload on the products that you use. So I always say when you are applying the, say for instance, I Want Body Volume Foam and the Sea Salt Texture Spray, when you're applying those two together, I always think if you think you've applied enough, apply a little bit more. So that's always my rule, just to make sure that we do get that texture in the hair. So I've applied the I Want Body Texture Spray. I'm now cocktailing that with our Frizz Control Shaping Cream. So what this does is creates a sheen in the hair. So the I Want Body Texture Spray is quite matte in its finish. And the Frizz Control Cream is just going to re-implement the shine back in. So once again, it gives me a little bit of grip. It gives me a little bit of grip. But then also in cocktailing with the I Want Body Texture Spray, it is fantastic cocktail of two to get the hair in the direction that you need. So there's a few tools that I like to use when I hair up. First one is a tail comb. I feel like a tail comb is amazing to penetrate into the hair, remove lumps and bumps. So great to direct the hair into where you want it to go. A wide tooth comb I use for a lot of my textured styles because we do like a little bit of a raked look, a little bit more of an undone look. And then I like my styling brush to smooth out any rake marks or any sort of comb marks that I've created with the root area. So I'll cocktail those. So what I like to do first is take my tail comb and we're just directing the hair back into the position that I need it to go. Now, depending on the density of the client's hair, sometimes you may need to split this into two. So what that means is taking a section from the top of the ear straight across, securing your first ponytail in at the bottom, and then incorporating the hair over the top. But my mannequin today, she has fine to medium hair, so we don't need to worry about the division between the sections. Once again, this is where product plays such an important role. You can see that as I'm combing this into position, I'm barely needing to manipulate the hair at all. So the hair knows exactly where it needs to go. There is enough product. And this, so you know, we're live right now, so you can't feel the texture of the hair, but I hope you can see what I can see here. So I haven't used a lot of tension. I'm like quite loose in where the positioning of my hand is right now. But once again, the heroing of the products have done what I've needed it to do. So I'm just going to position this into place first, and we are going to secure this off. So like I said, any stuff, sort of majority of the hair ups that you do, there's always a ponytail. So it's just finding where that ponytail is. So we're going in with a low ponytail today, making sure that we are aligned in with the jaw. So you can see the jaw is here and we're drawing that back into where we need it to go. Just going to take a clear elastic and we're just going to secure this off. Clear elastics are amazing for tying hair off because you don't see where the elastic is, so everything just looks really seamless. So we are going to secure this off first. This is quite a quick hairstyle too, which is nice. And once again, the aiding of the products and layering the products correctly is just going to make this so much easier. So you can see we've got a really beautiful sleek back ponytail first. Majority of your upping, knotting, bunning, this is probably your most work, getting this sleek, getting this back into the position that you need to. And then the rest of it is playing with what we see on the mid-lengths and ends. The cool thing is that options are endless when creating top knots and buns and styles. I might lift her up a tiny little bit more and then move in a tiny little bit more. So then you can see what I see. So, like I said, the options are endless when working in with your ponytail. And I think it's nice to ask your client the whole way through is, as you're slicking back, is that tension too tight? Or is that feeling comfortable? Or do you like that all your hair is slicked back? Do you want a little bit of hair left out? Do you like to have a parting in your slick back look? Or do you like to eliminate your part? Those kinds of questions are really, really important to ask. So then whatever you execute, your client loves. And it's nice checking in with them as you go, you know, saying, is this feeling good? Is that feeling good? Do you like where this is positioned? I'm going to go ahead and do this now. This is where I'm at now. We're still happy with what we see. And that, once again, is checking in with your client the whole way through, because there's nothing worse than doing a whole execution of a hair up and then your client being like, I don't know if they love it. And so then you've got to take it all out. It's always important. Check in with your clients as you are hair upping, making sure they feel good, because that's what we do. We do what we do because we love making clients look and feel beautiful. Let's go in and play with some options on the ends. Some clients like to just leave it as a ponytail, which is fine, but some clients like a knot or like a bun. Now, if a client's not going to a wedding, sometimes people stress out about having a bun because it can look too bridal. So we're going to play with some cool new techniques on still pulling it back into like a top knot or a bun or any kind of knot work without it coming across really bridal. And these are just really fun executions and quite simple too. What I like to do again is take some Frizz Control Shaping Cream. So just a small amount. And we're going to work that through the mid-lengths and ends. What this does is help smooth out all the flyaways. So not every client, when you pull it up into a ponytail, has got all the same one length. So you will see some shorter bits, some layering. And so it's important to use like a Frizz Control Shaping Cream, or even the medium hold styling cream is really fantastic to apply into the base end of the ponytail. So then whatever movement you create, you don't get any flyaways or any bits sticking out. So that's really, really nice to use. You can even cocktail that with a small amount of the Smooth Me Now Shine Serum. This is going to boost the shine. So even when you are doing a slick look on your client, it's nice to ask, do you like a high shine result, or do you like more of a medium finish, or do you like quite a matte result? Because some clients, when they have a sleek ponytail, love like a wet look, like a really high shine sleek ponytail. So you can go in with the shine serum over the top once you've like secured in your sleek ponytail, you can go in and just apply a little bit of shine serum over the top, and that's going to once again boost the shine, and then also into the mid-lengths and ends. So if your client wants a really high shine, slick knot style, you can go in and cocktail the Frizz Control Cream in with the shine serum, which is amazing. From here, like I said, there's a lot of things that you can do. You can either just twist straight down all the way to the ends, loop that around. And as I'm working around and working into the ends, I'm twisting as I'm going. So you can either loop that around, and this is like what people like to call a ballerina bun. So you can twist that around and loop that around, and that gives the most beautiful polished bun look. I like to wrap my first piece in and then wrap the rest behind it. So what that does is, as I'm twisting and as I'm wrapping, and you can see as I'm wrapping around, I'm going underneath. What that does is it keeps your first twist and wrap your focal point. So it's just hiding those ends in. And then from here, you can go in and pin that in. And then you have, like I said, that really beautiful ballerina bun, which a lot of people are asking for right now too. It's great to condense hair. If there's a lot of hair that your client has, this sort of ballerina bun style is nice to just bring the hair in and condense it. Another really nice style that people are asking for right now is what we call like a snake bun. So the hair comes up, it travels up, it then twist in on the ends, loop down and crosses over. So you can create a little bit more of like a crisscross bun style, which is really nice. This gives more of an elongated shape. So you can come in and twist in that way. So creating more of an elongated shape is really pretty to, once again, take away from hair looking too bridal. You can go in, and I'm just going to apply 2 pins because we're going to take this out and play with it a little bit later. But it's twisting this out, lifting up and looping. And then some clients even like to have a little bit of hair around that nape of the neck for added softness. This once again gives that really sort of undone style, but still polished in a way, which is really pretty. So this is a really nice style to create. Once again, if your client has a massive amount of hair, if they're very blessed and have very thick hair, this is a nice way to condense that hair too. You can, if your client has got quite fine hair, you can split this into 2. So I've just taken a horizontal sectioning, divided my ponytail into 2. Once again, working on twists. So twists are what people are loving right now. So you can go in and twist in at the top. Pin that in. Have this little bit of end left out. Bring that into your bottom section. And we can loop and twist that around in on the top. When I'm securing my pins in, I like to keep my pins closed. Keeping my pin closed, pushing in where I need it to go and just securing it in. And you can see how that's created a little bit more width, a little bit more height as well, but it's separating the hair for the illusion of a really nice full bun style. So you can always divide that bun into 2, which is amazing. And then you can create a plaited bun. So splitting the hair into 3 sections. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we can just cross those over. Depending on the density of the hair, once again, if the client's hair is quite fine, I don't go really tight on my braid. Where if a client's got a lot of hair, I really sort of tighten that braid up because it just, once again, aids into the condensing of the braid. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of those ends out. Just going to pull this out a little bit. And then we can go in and we can loop this again. So see how that's created a little bit more texture in the bun. So it's taking away from a ballerina style, for instance. Once again, my pins. So I take my pin, right? And what I like to do is, once again, keep my pin closed. I come in on one side. So I'm here on the left. It might be your right, but my left. And then I take another closed pin and I come in on the right-hand side and pin that in. So I've only got 2 pins in here at the moment, just for the security and the longevity. I'm going to take one more pin, come in on the top, and then another pin in on the nape of the neck. This, once again, is why product is so important. Pin for purpose. So if you've applied a generous amount of product in the hair and you have grip and you have grit and you have all the texture that you need, you pin for purpose. So all I'm doing is securing either side and securing in on the top, and that bun is not moving at all. So that's a really beautiful knotted style too. If your client wants to shy away from the ballerina look, for instance, or something that's really polished. Just gonna grab my curling tong. Now we're going to talk the front of the hair. So as I was mentioning before, it is really important to ask your client, do you like to have some hair around the front? Do you like to slick everything all back? So it's important to ask your client, with when you look in the mirror, what would you like to see? And if they like hair around the front, there's a lot of beautiful options around it. What I've done here is I've taken a triangular section first and clipped this out of the way and secured the rest of my ponytail in. People at the moment are asking for that feature piece in the front. So as I was mentioning before, when a client looks in the mirror, you want them to feel the most confident. So creating a generous amount of hair and having a feature piece in the front is really flattering for a client. So this hair around the front just has the I Want Body Volume Foam and Sea Salt Spray. So it has the grip, it has the expansion, it has the texture that I need. I'm just taking my curling iron and we're going to create movement around the front of her hair. So I'm working in more of a rounded technique here. So I'm not really dragging the hair down, just creating a really nice full curl. We're going to let that cool down. And what we do here is take our styling brush. And what we're going to do is brush this out. And this once again has created just a really nice focal point in on your client's slick style. Sometimes clients will want to have a little bit more hair out than this. So that's when you can balance out and just take your fingertips and drag out a little bit of hair sitting on this side. This is really beautiful way to then create softness on both sides as well. Sometimes, like I was mentioning before with the first few top knots that we did, if your client likes to have some of the hair out on the back of the bun, so if you pull some of that hair out or leave the ends of her hair out sitting here, that can sometimes pocket through on the sides as well, which gives, once again, another really nice soft finish to a slick style too. I'll then take the Give Me Hold flexible hairspray, one of my favorites in 11 Australia. I just love how flexible it is. It is a buildable product, so you can layer it for it to become stronger. But then if you feel like you put a little bit too much in, or your client's day is over, like they've gone to their event and they want to go home and take it out, you just add a brush the hair through, and almost all of that flexible hairspray comes back out. So I love this product for that. So this has just locked that style in. Finish off with the flexible hairspray around. With everything that 11 Australia has in terms of prep product and texturizers and things like that, flexible hold hairspray should really only be used to finish. Securing, sealing off all the work that you've done to give you that nice finished result. So here we have our beautiful, sleek bun and options of knots that you have. So in the YouTube live, as you're watching it, pause it, watch it again, which is amazing. So there's lots of different sleek styles for you there. So that's number one. Number two, here is a mannequin I have prepared earlier. Now this is texture, and it's funny because I've been talking to a lot of people about texture and implementing texture and textured hair ups, and people are sleek, they're like, sleek, no issue. Texture for me stresses me out. And I think because it's that fine line between hair looking textured and hair looking messy. And so that's what like freaks a lot of hairdressers out, is like, oh, we've all been there. And it's like, oh, it's that fine line between things looking undone and things just looking matted. I'm going to walk you through some really good tips on how to create texture and still have shape, because I think that's what's really important, is understanding texture and then also understanding creating shape. Coloring hair plays a really big role into creating the end result on your client. So if your client has like a dimensional blonde or a dimensional brunette, or there's variation in the hair, textured styles work so well on them. If your client's an all one level dark brown, like me, for instance, creating texture is tricky because all being one dimension and being quite dark, you don't see the movement in the hair. My best advice is, if you've got a client that has dark hair and they want a textured result, it's important to educate them on the reasons why that's quite complicated to do. And then you meet in the middle. So if your client wants something a little bit more textured, it doesn't necessarily mean that they need really full, super undone hair. Textured could be just not as polished. So rake marks going through the hair as it comes back, creating pieces out, or creating a little bit more dimension in the top knot that you do, or the low knot that you do. Working out what's going to work best for them, but talking about texture and movement, it's the hair that has dimension executes texture so much more beautifully than one-dimensional hair. So work through some options for your client. If you feel like your client's brought in something that you don't think is going to either give them the longevity that they need or complement the hair that they have, always let them know that in your professional opinion, you don't think that's going to work very well, but also give them a solution and be like, but I think something like this. It's a version of what you've brought in, but it's still something that's going to work for your hair. So it's understanding that too. Creating texture. A really foolproof way to create texture is implementing curl. So adding curl into any style that you create is going to make your life so much easier. Now, it's not just a curl, it's creating dimension in the hair. So you can see that this curl is going off the face, this one underneath is going off the face, but this next one is in a different direction. So it's curling onto the face. Alternating the directions in the curl that you do is going to help give you that undone look. So you'll see that when I go to rake this out, so this is where, like I was saying before, my wide tooth comb plays a really big role here. So you'll see that when I go to rake this out, that it's not sitting like a true wave. And when I say wave, I mean that really polished S-bend that you see when you brush curls out. So I've just prepped once again with the Almond Body Volume Foam and Sea Salt Spray. And you can see texture is already in the hair. And that's from the directional tong set that we've created. So prep is really, really important in executing a textured style. So we created low and sleek. Now we're creating high and textured. So referencing again from where we were, high is lining it on that cheekbone and we're coming up. So what I like to do, and I'll go up a tiny little bit, is take a section from the top of the head to the back of the ear. And we're just going to clip this away for a sec. And we're going to do that on both sides. From the top of the head to the back of the ear, and just clip that away. Remember in the beginning of the video, I said every hair up has a ponytail? I'm going to take all of the hair from the back, spray the Almond Body Texture Spray. And remember I was saying before, it doesn't interfere with any movement that you've created. It's a fantastic tool for grip and grip. We saw how easy it was to direct the hair into our low sleek ponytail. So you know it's going to do a really good job in directing the hair up in our high ponytail. So all I'm doing is taking my wide tooth comb and I am guiding that all the way up. So I was also mentioning before the variances of the positioning of the high ponytail. So for this look today, essentially we're working on the top end of the cheekbone. I am swapping over to the Dry Finish Texture Spray. And I'm spraying that from the roots to the mids. So I'm being mindful not to spray too much into my ends. So you can see they're still light and airy. Just in my root to my mid to give me the direction that I need the hair to go and just add even more texture in on that baseline. What I love about this wide tooth comb is that you can see the rake marks as it comes up, and that just aids into a textured style, which is beautiful. We are up where we need to go. Now we're just going to secure it in. So remember, every hair up has a ponytail. It's just finding out where it is. So we have our base end of our ponytail in, and we are ready to create our first bit of movement. So what you do when you're at this point, what you want to do is create padding and cushioning for the rest of the hair that we've left out in the front to incorporate in and over. So at this point in here, I like to take my styling brush, drag everything forward, give a soft little bit of back combing, and it's just ever so softly. If you go in with a tail comb, you'll create quite a strong back combing effect, but your styling brush just helps fatten the hair out in a really soft way. So at this point, I'm just brushing away any back combing marks we see. Spraying once again with our Dry Finish Texture Spray. And what we're going to do at this point is bring it up, over, and around. And we're just going to pin that in. So as I was mentioning before, this is our foundation point. So our reference point to the rest of the hair to come back over and into. So creating a bit of padding, a bit of cushioning is really important, once again, for longevity of styles. Just going to pin in my last pin. When I pin hair in and I am securing anything in, I love to keep my pin closed, which you would have seen before. Keeping my pin closed, taking some hair and pushing that in on the baseline. So you want to make sure you feel the scalp as you go in, just to know that your pins are secure. I've left, so we've got our little bit of cushioning and padding in through here. I've left a little bit of hair out in the back because I think we might play with that after. We may tuck it away and hide it, but we may play with it after. So I'm just going to keep that out for the minute. But we have our first piece of our high bun in. Now what I'm going to do is, I'll lift this up a tiny little bit. Now what I'm going to do is separate the pieces that I want left out. So for this high textured style we're creating today, we're celebrating a lot of hair out. So this is a beautiful style for clients that don't like having their hair all pulled back, for clients that still like to have an element of softness in their hair. So I've just taken, remember my triangle section we took for our sleek style? Same triangle section. If you're unsure on where that needs to start when you're pulling hair out and taking hair out, if you rest your comb on the top of the head, where that head starts to round off is a perfect reference point to where your hair needs to start coming out, because at this point the head starts to round. So organically this hair wants to fall forward. So from this point down to the recession point in through here, taking that angle down on both sides creates your triangle for you. Coming back into my wide tooth comb, we're going to rake this hair up into the direction of where our knot goes. Using, once again, my Dry Finish Texture Spray. And so you can see, we're going to take this whole section twist it up towards our bun like this, and then secure that in. So we have our first section of hair directing back, and we're just going to repeat on the opposite side. Angled section or my triangle section, leaving that out. My client today would like a little bit of hair out around the ear as well, so we're going to do that. Switching over to a wide tooth comb. Come up and over. So we're directing this hair to where we want it secured, and that's really important to remember. Direct the hair where you want it to be secured. Taking this section of hair as a whole, twisting up, and we're just going to secure that in. Once you've secured that in, you can pick out pieces for symmetry if you want more added texture. So we have our two sides pulled up and in and out of the way, and now we're left with the mid-lengths and the ends on that section. So it's what to do here. You can either, and what's really pretty and really trending at the moment is just taking my styling brush. You can, I'm going to do it so you can see it. How can you see it? Twist and loop around here and pin that in. So then you get a little bit more loop and a little bit more curl as it comes out and more hair sticking out. That is amazing foundation and base to then layer the rest of your hair that you've incorporated in. With the correct prep behind what you do, once all of this is pinned in, you can just use your fingertips and expand. Create a lot of width and a lot of motion, a lot of movement. So it's important, take a step back, have a look, see how all of that's sitting. I really like this hair that's sort of trailing down, so we're going to keep that today. But creating really beautiful, fun, textured styles is all about finding your ponytail, securing that in, prepping the hair correctly, and also the correct tools of product to finish and style. I'm going to grab my other one, and here we have our sleek top, low knot. We have our sleek knot style and polished style, and then we have our textured hair up style. I hope that you have enjoyed today's YouTube live session and are going to leave this session today with a lot more confidence behind upstyling and textured hairstyles and sleek styles, and finding out where you're starting, where you're finishing, and cocktailing using 11 Australia products. Have fun with it and enjoy it and play around. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.
The luxury of something